Hello, welcome to another episode of Free Code Friday. My name is Jason Bach, and we're going to continue on with trying to figure out how to execute or implement execute. So, I think the thing I realize is that I need to um, have a line to execute as new byte of 8. Now I also need to figure out like what is my current count. So let's have a function in here, private ulong get current line count. Now should I make this public? Because I only need it internally, but does it, this is also one of those things of how do I test this? And this is something that I do want to test. Just making it internal and then doing it internal is visible too is not also ideal. I think this is actually something that this is the struggle. I don't want this to just, why would you call this externally? So var line count is equal to oops, page up. So for each var line in this dot lines dot values, because this should always just be the values in the lines, right? Yeah, okay. Line count equals the current line count plus line dot that. That's pretty simple actually, but I like it. So if I have one line that's 3, two lines, line 2 that's 2, and 3 that's 1, that should be 6. Alright. Var current line count is equal to this. Get current line count. How do I tell it to only go up to a certain value? Well, okay. If current line count is greater than uint max, then I have a kind of a weird case. Else, what I want to do is using the random. Yeah, I don't think I want to use the random generator. So let's shove this back to being just random, 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 and make that random. Okay. Because otherwise what I want to do is say this dot random dot next. Next bytes though. There is no way to say, yeah, you just fill it. So there's no way to say like generate up to a max value. These are ints. Just bugs me that they made this distinction that like ints and uints and longs and ulongs, that you just use ints everywhere. Well, no, I mean, it's making this harder than I want it to be. Next, because I want it within a range. If I'm only there, I only need to go up to a certain value. But if I cast a uint And see, yeah, I don't need this just yet. This is only in the case where I'm above. Then it gets weird. Yeah. In this case, which is actually going to be the case that you're going to hit right away first. I mean, in the can't see you ever getting more than that. What you want to do is say up to if I do var x equal to u int of max value, what's x? Okay. If I say var y is equal to cast that to an x, y is what? It's going to be minus 2 billion something, isn't it? Minus 1. Oh yeah, because it went all the way over and then back up. Okay. Which is not what we want. So this gets even worse. Because I need to... all this just to generate a freaking random u-long value. Generate random u-long. To the internets. But that would, see, that's generating a random, that's actually easy. That I know how to do. You just generate randomly range for byte. Sure. So also as a solo generates for random number one for each byte compared to combining two values using shift. The simplest, well, if the skeet says, thou shall accept the skeet. But that's no, there we go. Oh yeah, an unchecked would, oh, okay, that's true. I don't, it's kind of weird. I'm actually looking for, yeah, because I only want to get up to, he said he's going to post the answer. That's the answer he gave. This doesn't seem to do anything with like a random generation, which is not what I want. I want it to be actually generating a random ulong. Go back. But it's, again, true. I know how to actually generate a random 64-bit number. That's not the problem. What the problem is that if I have a upper bound, I can only say generate me a number that goes up to that. And I can only also say yeah, so it has to go up in a range. All this, if I just would use an int, everything would be fine. But no, I can't let it go. So, how do I actually, what's the problem? I need to generate a random 64-bit number that has a max value. So if I have 20 lines, I need to go from 0 to 19 and give me a number. I wonder. I just had a thought. Could you this is going to be random, and I'll pull this over so you can actually see the notes I'm going to be doing here. Could you, if I'm, and let's forget about ulongs for a second. Let's say that I needed to generate a number from 0 to 100 exclusive. Okay, so really 0 to 99. Any number from 0 to 99 inclusive. But what I really had was a maximum of 20. Okay. Could I use the mod operator? I think I could. So in other words, if you generated 3 and I say 3 mod 20, well, that's going to be equal to 3. If you generate 27 mod 20, that's going to be equal to 7. If you do 20 mod 20, that's going to be 0. So the point of what I think I just realized is that if I need to generate something of just any arbitrary size and then just mod it to that max value, I think that will work, and that will be so much cleaner than what I need to do right now. I don't have to do any of this crap. I just need to say is the mod operator going to work? Let's C# mod operator. All numeric types are more than okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. That's going to be there. Okay, so now I should be able to say var random first I need a buffer, new byte of 8, right? And then what I need to say is var generated, we'll just this dot random dot next bytes buffer. I'm going to have to do that first as a separate thing. Okay. if I could copy correctly. Now what I can say is I've got the buffer, so I can say bit converter to U64 of the buffer starting at 0, mod it with our current line count. Beautiful. Beautiful. Of course, it's going to compile, but it doesn't mean the code's going to actually work. Oh, you failed. Oh, yeah, it's probably because I don't return. And yeah, there's just, okay, that's fine, that's fine. We're fine, we're fine, we're fine. But I think this is actually quite an elegant solution because this easily gives you a way to say, I give you a whole bunch of values, but I need to just go from 0 to 20 exclusive. So you just mod it, because if you got 19 mod 20 is 19, 20 mod 20 is 0, 21 mod 20 is 1, and it's just that's perfect. I'm happy. I'm happy. That's nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Now I need to figure out. God, jumping around here. Now I need to figure out. And you know, this is actually something I should consider putting on Spackle itself, which is if you want to generate, or at least in random object generator, which is to put a way to say if you want to generate like a next double with a range, or a next uint of a range, or or something like that. The problem with it though is with the random object generator, when you have to just give it a type. And if you give it a range, then it has to be a range of that type. And then also, what happens if you say I want to range from 3 to 15? Well, in that case, I wonder if you can like subtract those and do the mod and then add your min value back to whatever you get. I think that would work. So what I'm getting at here is I think I want to add a bunch of notes. Consider adding a range for random object generator for numeric types. For example, if you need a ulong from 1 to 20, use the mod of 20. Oh, I'm sorry, that'd be 0 to 20 exclusive. But if you need ulong from 3 to 15 exclusive, use mod of, you're generating. If I back these down, so it'll be 3, 2, 2, 1, 0. So it's minus 3. 15 minus 3 is 12, 11. Use mod of 11, I think. And then add min value to it. Sweet. So I'm going to add this to an issue to Spackle, because then I could actually have what I just did here and just say, you know, go back to being a random object generator, but have it give me a value based on the current line count exclusive. And then I don't have to do this little piece of code here. I can let it do that. But that's fine. I can keep it here for now. Okay. Pick a line, execute the line's code. So now that's the current line count, but now I got to figure out, okay, which line do I actually pick? So now I say for each var line and this dot lines values, because I don't care about the identifiers. if, just trying to think how to do this. I have a lower bound and an upper bound that I need to look at. And I don't know, well, I'm assuming the lower bound is 0 for that. What I want to do is say for each line, our current lower bound is equal to 0 UL. Our range is equal to new range of a U long current lower bound this line.count plus current lower bound. So if I find the first line is 3, then I'm going to have 0 to 3. If it's not in that, current lower bound becomes 3, and there'll be 3 to what the next one is. Let's say 5. And that'll be 3, 5 let's see is 8. And then I think I have range contains. And I thought, is that inclusive or exclusive? I can't remember. I think I need to actually do this as being exclusive, because it's going to say, are you within 3 to 7? So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's actually interesting. C# 8 is going to add a range type, so this might be used here, but then I have to slightly change it because I think a range means exclusive upper by default. And of course you don't have the documentation. You idiot. Go back to the codes, which is right on my machine, so why don't I just look at it? Inclusive, so it does inclusive, but what I need it to be is exclusive, right? Oh, well, there's going to be tests around this galore. There's going to be so many tests. All right, so if the range contains the generated value, that's the line to execute. So then I say line.code passing in this. Does code return anything? No, it's just an action. That's right. Okay. Execute the line. Now here, if I say, and then what I want to do is break, because I want to break out of the for each completely. This is the line I found, and I need to just stop. If this stop should statement be deferred, keep the line count the same. Otherwise, so what I need to do now is change the lines count. Line update count. That's going to give me a new line, -1. Screwed by my own. Yeah, I can't do, that has to be a long. That can't be a U long. Because I need to be able to say increment or decrement by a certain amount. And it's actually interesting because this will actually put a limitation to say I can only remove like half of it because it's only going to be a long. But it has to be plus or minus. I can't. What am I assuming here? This is actually wrong now that I think about it. I'm assuming minus, but you could increase. This was supposed to be a delta. I think I almost wanted to, I think what I want to say here is either increase it or decrease it, but then you can't then do it by u-long. You just pass in which one you want to do. But I need to look and say, oh, you got a negative number there. Whereas if I just said long here, I could say just I wonder if I should just stop here because I just hit a case where I'm like, yeah, this needs to be a long or a u-long. Whereas if this was just a big integer, that would actually be the right thing to do in a way, is to seriously make this a big integer. And big integers support mod, so I would be okay if I use that same technique to generate an x number within a range with big integer. Right? So if I come back here, I would just have to, I'd have to change some things. I'd have to say only allow lines when you create them to be big integer of 0 or greater. You can't have negative counts. If you do this to generate a big integer, I think big integer has a way to get the bytes that currently represent the big integer. Right? Let's just do this quick. Var bi is equal to new big, let's just say new big integer, and let's just inline it that way right now. And I think there's a way to pass in like a string, isn't there? No, I actually had to create a method to do that. But let's just, put in a big number there. Okay. And then bi dot to byte array. Yeah, so you do have a way to say get the byte array, generate you can look at the count of the byte array, determine what your buffer size should be, generate it next bytes. The bit converter doesn't have like a too big integer, right? But what big integer does have is to say, okay, well, you just generated a number of that size, right? And then you could big integer mod your current line count. Because I could say var x is equal to by mod 3. That works. I can also say big integer, well, I can't. Here, what I can say is that what? Oh yeah, yes. How can you do a max? It's not the max value, it's max. But I can say 1, and that would work too. So I think I know what I need to do here, which is to just stop worrying about bounding, unsigned, and all these things. Just make the line count always got to be 0 or greater. It cannot be negative. And then just start using big integers everywhere. Okay. The identifiers will still be u-longs because you still have to have integers for the identifiers. And those, I think I can deal with 2 to the 64 lines of code. That's okay. If somebody actually ends up writing that, that's your problem. But this is a good place to stop. Again, this feels like it's really being picky here, but I think this is the right thing to do, which is to change the counts so that they're arbitrarily big integers, and I have ways to I'm going to comment that in for just a second because I want to save that. But then I'd have a way to actually always make sure that I don't have to worry about arbitrarily any size. Yes, there'll be a little bit of overhead in using a big integer, but realistically it should be relatively small. So, I think it logically makes more sense to do it this way. So I'm going to stop for now and spend my Sunday playing some Shadow of the Tomb Raider, stretching, and just generally relaxing today. And I may come back and do another episode later so I can keep on this train of thought. So that's all I'm going to do for right now. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.